Good evening. Welcome to another episode of Blood, Sweat, and Tears presented by the Fantasyholics Podcast Network. As always, MrOviedo here with Castleblack Brian Brunner and wide receiver one room Zach Rom. We're coming at you with some hot takes and we were going to do rookie risers and fallers, but had a little bit of an audible, so to speak, this afternoon with the Micah Parsons trade.
Yeah.
What do y'all think of that? I really thought Jarrah was gonna come to his senses. How do you not keep Micah? If I was Jerry, I'd make sure Parsons retired a Cowboy. I just don't think players like Micah Parsons come around that often. So.
That's tough. I think you looked at the Cincinnati Bengals and saw that they have Chase, Burrow, Higgins, and who's their defensive player that they just signed?
Henderson.
Yeah. He saw those four people taking up 75% of the Bengals cap room and thought that he couldn't afford that. I mean, because they're paying Dak, they're paying Diggs, they're paying Lamb. That if they pay Parsons, how much cap are they going to be able to do anything? That at least this way, you got a good, a serviceable defensive player in return. Kenny Clark are good, and then 2 first-round picks from Green Bay. That, let's face it, the NFC North is becoming a tough division. That I understand the deal from a cap standpoint. If there was no cap, yeah, you pay Micah Parsons, but they have so many people to pay.
Yeah, my first thought is, peace, get the fuck out of my division. That's great. He's at the end of the day, 2 first-round picks and a decent starting piece on defense, you don't see that happen much in trades. I mean, unless we're talking like a franchise quarterback deal, the Lions got all that for Stafford a few years back or whatever the case. So, as much as I hate to say anything nice about the Cowboys or Jerry, if you're going to move on from them, this is the package you're wanting here. It would be more a Cowboys thing that they gave him up for a second and a third or some nonsense like that. But this is actually, a rock solid return for him. And I don't think it has anything to do with them not liking Parsons or not wanting to pay him. It's just, like you said, they have so much money already tied up. If they would have any hope of bringing in decent free agents in the next few years or being able to retain decent rookies, there's just no way they could give him another max contract. So I get it. It works out. Happy for fantasy football because the Cowboys now, I think they already had a mediocre at best defense. Now it's in shambles.
Yeah.
So let's air it out, boys. Let's get Dak throwing it 675 times this year, 200 targets to Lamb and bomb touchdowns to Pickens and Ferguson and, shootouts, baby. Reminds me of the Bengals from last year. No defense, just every game is just a game of Madden. So let's go.
Have the Bengals changed?
No. If they have the same defense they had last year, they might have even lost a guy or two.
Exactly. And Cowboys don't even have a running game. So you Lamb, Dak, Pickens, buy them up. Get them.
It'll be brought up in my hot takes later.
There you go.
Yeah, as the rest of the skilled players in the NFC East take a sigh of relief, oh, thank God Micah Parsons is gone. Oh, my God, the NFC North is going to be a war every single week. That's going to be a tough black and blue division.
Oh, for sure. I'm in Bear country. Bears fans all around, and they've been talking about we have some great O-line upgrades. It's going to be great. It's going to be great. And then this trade happens, and they're like, well, there goes Caleb Williams being safe. That's just, it's going to be some brutal games against the Packers in this division. And that is going to be fun to see.
Definitely.
They have the linebacker core there. Edgerrin Cooper, who came on like a banshee last year, cost me a title in a freaking IDP league. Rat bastard. That guy will always just leave a sour taste in my mouth. But he's very good. Quay Walker, another very good linebacker, and now they add Parsons, who's I don't think of him so much as a linebacker, but that's technically where he lines up. But I mean, that's pretty scary, man.
Yeah. And I understand it from a Green Bay perspective. I mean, if you're looking at their wide receiver room, looking at Reed's injury, but he's playing, who's going to really go there? Like, do you think you're going to have the ability to air it out and really come back in games? Or do you need to keep opponents scoring low and control the game with Josh Jacobs? I think it's a great move for what the Packers need to do to win games, knowing that they need to score lower because they don't have a top-tier wide receiver. No matter what Packers fans might say, even Matthew Golden, he hasn't proven himself yet, that this is what the Packers need to do to win games. And that's why they threw 2 firsts and Kenny Clarkin.
That is a blockbuster deal. Yeah, it'll be the NFL is such a soap opera. There was an engagement this week, and now we have this huge deal. And a week from right now, we'll be have just finished that opening night game, which is going to be
can't wait.
It's going to be fun.
The now Micah Parsons list Dallas Cowboys
Yes.
into the link to face my birds.
Yeah,
I think I'll make a proper call and say the Eagles are going to go with the 1-0 start.
that's probably a fair assessment.
I'll take the over.
I mean, thinking about it, when's the last time a team traded 2 firsts for a non-QB? Like I'm racking my brain, and outside the rookie draft, rookie draft, you're going to be dropping a couple firsts for a player. I mean, technically, the Jaguars traded a couple firsts to get Travis Hunter. They traded their first a couple picks later and one next year. But like outside the rookie draft, I'm thinking Deshaun Watson recently, thinking Matthew Stafford recently. But when is the last time a non-quarterback has gone for 2 firsts? I can't think of it off the top of my head.
I can ask my virtual assistant ChatGPT. I bet they'll tell me pretty quickly.
Let's see. Yeah, because that's a very interesting question to see. I have no idea when the last time that's the case, because that might be another huge reason the Cowboys did this.
Only kind of bad thing about NFL trades is there aren't many player-for-player trades. That would be so fascinating. You had like a TJ Watt or a Trey McBride or some sort of it's almost always player for picks. More player for player trades would be so dynamic, and it'd be a whole nother layer of sports talk to go on and on about.
Yep. Oh, for sure.
Joe, here you go. So this goes back a ways here. So here's a quick timeline of similar trades. Okay. Joe Galloway from the Cowboys to the Seahawks. The Cowboys gave up multiple first-round picks for 2000 and 2001 to acquire Joey Galloway. Keyshawn Johnson in the year 2000. Doesn't give me much. That was when the Bucs got him from the Jets, his original team.
Yeah.
First, Jalen Ramsey. The Rams gave up 2 first-rounders to get Ramsey back in 2019.
So
that's recent. And then the most recent, injury-riddled Jamal Adams, the safety. The Seahawks gave up 2 first-round picks to get him from the Jets.
Sorry,
that happened twice fairly recently.
Yeah, those didn't work out for the players moving the picks. Granted, those defensive players were a little older than Micah Parsons, so
sure,
at least they had that going for them. But yeah,
Ramsey was in 2019, so I guess Ramsey would have been a part of the Super Bowl that the Rams won.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, not that he was like the key factor in the winning by any stretch. Aaron Donald certainly was the guy on the defensive side, but
yeah,
at least he was a decent key part of their defense. But no, 2 firsts, no, not worth it. Jamal Adams, what a nightmare for that dude. He's played. I think he's already off of the Seahawks, but like, how many games did he actually play for them?
Yeah, man. No, that was the Seahawks imploded and are slowly building back up. Yeah.
Well, at least the Jets used those first-round picks to build this juggernaut team that they're working with today. East Coast Browns.
Yeah, East Coast Browns. Hey, my Pats are in that division. I'm happy for that.
Oh.
I mean, we had like 1 year we were a little scared of Matthew Stafford, and that's been about it. Not Stafford. Wow. Mark Sanchez. There was like he was coming up and like people were afraid of him. Then the butt fumble happened and he retired soon after, thankfully.
But Rex led Jets teams. It was all defense and low scoring.
Yep. Yeah. Speaking of my Patriots, we have our now that we're away from those live mock drafts, we have our underdog bet that we're going to discuss a little. Going to my Patriots, Drake Maye.
Drake Maye, who we all decided was way overvalued for Dynasty, at least when we were looking at the keep trade cut rankings.
Yeah, I think.
But
I think he went even higher since we last.
He's rushing. He was the high draft capital, and it's hard not to be excited about him for fantasy purposes.
Yeah.
But that being said, they've got some higher lowers here for him. So why don't you tell us about it there, Mr. Zach?
Yeah. So we got 5 here. It's a higher lower of half of playoff games started. So if the Patriots will not only make the playoffs, but Drake Maye will start it. The big one that you can get a big multiplier on your money on, but not likely, is if Drake Maye will lead and have the most regular season passing yards. Then we have a higher lower of 20.5 passing touchdowns, higher lower of 474.5 rushing yards, and a higher lower of 3,299.5 passing yards. So if he's going to hit 3,300 passing yards or not. So some very interesting numbers. Yeah, we thought he was a little high value dynasty, but this is a very interesting gauge as to what kind of output we would expect from Drake Maye this year.
So the first one, starting a playoff game or not, the Pats, I don't know, I haven't heard it talked about in a little while, but their win total was, I think, like 8.5 or 9 was their Vegas line, which could get them into the playoffs, I guess. And that's the winning record.
Yeah.
If I had to bet on it, just with all these moving parts, like the majority of this offense is coming in fresh. You've got Henderson, who we're all excited about, but he's never played there before. We had Diggs coming in, who sounds like he's going to be healthy for week 1, but he hasn't been there. Kyle Williams, the rookie, he just got there. The head coach, Vrabel, he just got there.
Yeah.
So you've got all these different moving pieces, and it's kind of tough for a team to come together that fast. I mean, if they make the playoffs, it'll be a cute little story. And, I don't think anybody will be like completely shocked. But if I had to bet my own money out of it, I'm taking the no. Or just well, I guess this is one where you can only bet on them making it or not. So I would pass on this bet.
I would agree. The AFC with all those teams, even though 7 can make the playoffs, the Patriots aren't going to be one of the 7. Like we're finishing 10th, 11th in the AFC. We're not going to touch a wild card spot for the playoffs. So no, I wouldn't do that. And I understand the hope to really get your money back on him leading the regular season passing yards, but not with that wide receiver core. There's no way he's doing that with that wide receiver core.
If he's higher on these, NFL MVP and Vrabel Coach of the Year.
Yeah. I will take back every bad thing I said about him and put him as my QB1 next year if he leads the NFL in passing yards.
Well, because he will run too. So like if he led the NFL in passing yards, he would also be throwing in somewhere in that 500-yard rushing yardage range. So yes, he'd be rock star. Shit, he might be the top fantasy quarterback if that happened.
Yeah,
given his age and everything.
Then for the next 3, I'm a play it a little interesting. I think with the way the Patriots are going to play, where they're going to lean on Stevenson, Henderson, really run the ball. Play that defense. He's not going to have too many passing yards, but I think I would go higher on passing touchdowns, higher on rushing yards, but I would go lower on passing yards. I think a lot of their offense, yardage-wise, is going to come from the run game, maybe the screen game some, but really the run game I think is going to do well. They're going to focus on defense, special teams, turnovers. I think they're going to have shorter fields, and then the rushing game is going to eat that up, whether that's Drake Maye or Henderson. But he'll get those passing touchdowns. I think he had 15 passing touchdowns last year. He has better wide receiver weapons this year. I think it's going to be shorter yardage passing touchdowns. But I think he's going to get 22 to 25. I think he's going to hit that 500-600 yard rushing mark, but I think he's going to have that lower end passing yards. I think that's where he might finish a little above where we're thinking dynasty wise. He's not going to finish as quarterback like 6 to 8, which is where he's at and keep trade cut. But I think he's going to be more serviceable than some people might think. I think he'll be in the 15 range, but I think, I'd go higher on the first two and lower on the passing yards myself.
Yeah, the powers that be have done the math. They all feel right on line. I would take the higher on all, and Josh McDaniels can really, really lead some offenses. First time around, he of course had Tom Brady, but there's a little difference between Brady and Maye. But I'm coming around on Maye, and I think it'll be very close for all. But I would take the higher on all the passing touchdowns and rushing yards. I mean, 474 feels really low for Maye. He might be in the 600 range.
So when I saw that we were, talking about this this betting line, or however you word it, I looked it up last year what the Patriots did passing. Now it's tough to just look at last year because, like I said, there's so many new moving parts. I didn't even bring up Josh McDaniel. Like everything there's new. The only recurring things from last year are like the crappier members of the offensive line, Maye, Ramondre, and like Pop Douglas. So hard to say like, okay, they did this last year, so this is what to expect. But last year, if you take the Patriots quarterback, because it was Beef, Jacoby Brissett for a few games, Maye for a majority of them, and then Week 18 was Milton started that game. But as a grand total, the Patriots passed for just shy of 3,000 yards last year. It was 29,970, somewhere along those lines. You got to factor in, does Maye, as a mobile rushing quarterback, does he stay healthy for all 17? And if he does, can they throw for 300 or so more yards than they did last year? What's the math on that? An extra, 20-something a game, 25 a game? I mean, it's doable. It could certainly happen, but like most of these lines that we bring up, man, they're just right on. Like it's just shit. I have the toughest time. But at the most, it makes me want to just not bet these lines. I'm like, man, it could just go either way. And Drake Maye is not a guy that I have some huge conviction about being like great or bad. So if I had to put my own money out, I'll take the over on passing touchdowns. Getting 21 passing touchdowns in today's NFL is not much. I'll take the over on rushing. He almost hit that rushing total last year, only playing like 13 games, and he went out early in one or two of them. So I think all the things on this board that I'd be happy to bet on, I would probably take the higher on the rushing yards and like just pass on everything else.
Yeah. He had 229 rushing yards in 13 games. And that's where I went the higher on touchdowns, is he had 15 touchdowns in 13 games. So a little better wide receiver, a little there. But, he only had just under 2,300 yards. So that's where I think, yardage is a little lower, but the rest higher. But, you're right. These guys who do these numbers for a living do it for a reason. They're right there.
Did you say he only had 200-something rushing yards last year?
229 rushing yards in 13 games.
I swear I thought I saw more than that, but maybe not.
I looked it up quickly on Sleeper, but I guess they could be wrong, or they might take in.
I thought it was close to. I thought it was right around that number that the higher lower is at. But let me just vet that real quick.
Oh no, I'm stupid. He had negative 229 yards for sacks.
Oh, okay.
He had 429 or 421 rushing yards.
There you go. That's what I saw. When
I think he'll easily hit that.
Right, and that was in 13 games where he left a few of those games early. So I think that's the glaring one where I'm okay putting some of my own bread and cheese on that.
Yeah, and that's where I think he'll finish in that 15 range, despite going higher on the touchdowns and the rushing yards is he had that. He had 420 rushing yards, 15 passing touchdowns. He still finished as QB 23. Great, so it was 13 games, but I think it'll be that 12 to 15 range. But yeah, these numbers are dead on.
Yeah, seems like they know what they're talking about out there in Vegas.
Yeah, who would have thought? Okay, we're moving on to our hot takes. Each of us has provided some very hot takes this season. We're going to take our time explaining it out, and then let the other two kind of tear into it for what we have said. Who wants to go first?
I'll go first. Fire them up.
Let's go.
I'm always a good volunteer in class. Nobody else wants to go. I'll take it. So my first one here. It's funny enough. Today I added a little bit of confirmation to it here. And mind you, these are hot takes, bold predictions. I'm not saying this shit's going to happen, but if you got to, stick my neck out on a couple things that are unlikely to happen, but that I could see going in, this is them. So Drake London finishes as the wide receiver 1. So I base a lot of this on the connection I saw with Penix and him the last 3 games last year. It was just, he had something like I believe it was a 38% target share when Penix took over.
Massive.
Just targeted him. So, that's huge. Opportunity and targets matter so much when it comes to fantasy relevance and, finishing with real good numbers. He also did finish as like the wide receiver 5, I want to say, overall last year. Even only having Penix those last couple games, he still balled out last year. He's a, blue chip prospect, top 10 NFL pick, was the first receiver taken in his draft class. He's huge. He just looks bigger than everybody else that's trying to cover him. I've always been a fan of his game, and he's just progressed in the right direction since he got to the league. And then another thing that I just heard today, I'm off of work all week, which has been wonderful. Had to take my kitten to the vet, so I'm driving to the vet. I'm listening to the Today's Fantasy Footballers episode. They have, every year they do this episode where they have a bunch of people from the industry come on and give their fantasy MVPs. Well, they have Matt Harmon, famous for reception perception. He probably is the industry gold standard for wide receiver research, present company not included. But the dude is, the wide receiver guy.
Yes.
His pick for fantasy MVP this year, Drake London.
Wow.
And, yeah. So I love it. I love where you can grab him. I like I've been doing mocks like crazy for, getting prepped for my redraft draft, and where you can get him in like the middle to later second. If you can pull off getting like Jahmyr Gibbs in the first and London in the second, oh my God, I love that so much. When I hit a mock where that happens, the team just looks so hot. It's awesome. So yeah. London's a huge target for me. I just barring injury or Penix just turning into a pumpkin for some reason, I think he's a safe bet to be like a top 5 guy. But I absolutely can see him being the wide receiver 1. Shit happens all the time. Jamar Chase just won the Triple Crown. He looks incredible. But, guess what? When Cooper Kupp won the Triple Crown, he evaporated the next year from the overusage. When Michael Thomas had that insane year where he was just the number 1 player in fantasy, he never even sniffed the field again, basically. So lots of crazy stuff can happen. I'm not saying you should draft him as the wide receiver 1 or that he's definitely going to finish there, but I will color me unshocked if he ends up being the wide receiver 1 this year.
I like it. I think that's very plausible. Him and Penix looked amazing to end last season. I think people are forgetting just how good that Atlanta offense looked.
Another thing I didn't even bring up with Penix is Penix was in like a ridiculously high volume throwing. The college stats that Penix put up, like the dude can air it out. He's got an arm. He's been chucking it his whole life, and he pretty much stepped right into that same role with Atlanta. So I do have faith that Penix is competent enough to hyper target him. I didn't even bring up that Darnell Mooney, the number 2 there, is dealing with some injury that they're not even sure if he's ready for week 1. The perennially disappointing Kyle Pitts, he'll get some targets, but I don't think he eats it. I think London is just absolutely one of the few guys that's in the NFL that is just, commanding damn near all the targets. And, if I'm Michael Penix, I'm throwing to that monster in the back of the end zone as often as possible.
Yep. Keep going. Give us all of them, and we'll give you more thoughts.
Fair enough, man. So my second one, and I put this in to get the graphic made before today's trade even happened. Dak Prescott finishes as a top 3 fantasy wide receiver. And I was just basing this on the Cowboys defense didn't even look that good with Parsons as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
Now they jettison him out for some draft capital, and, Kenny Clark's decent, but I don't think anybody's, worried about, oh my God, my player's facing the Kenny Clark defense this week. So the Cowboys defense just got a lot worse. They also did not address their rushing game whatsoever, and unless you consider bringing in Javonte Williams, Miles Sanders, and a 5th-round pick, Jadon Blue, as addressing the running game. So I don't see a scenario where the Cowboys don't have to just air it out, man. They bring in George Pickens. I'm, known as not a big Pickens guy, but I mean, he is what he is. He's a vertical threat. I'd say pretty easily the best player they've had next to Lamb, like since, Lamb's rookie year or so. And you get Jake Ferguson is a very capable, solid, like pass catching tight end for fantasy. So I think the only path for them is playing a ton of catch up, and because they're behind and they have the crappy running game, I don't even think they're going to attempt to run the ball much. I think unless Dak gets hurt, they are going to be throwing the ball at some astronomical pace. I can't see any other scenario where they're not doing that. And Prescott has, finished as a top 7-6 QB multiple times. I didn't know the exact numbers. I think he might even have a top 5 finish under his belt, 1 or 2 of those as well. So just given the fact that they gave him another big weapon, Lamb is just in his prime, healthy again. He's healthy. It'd be more shocking to me that he isn't like high end, if not top 3. And we just did our mock last week. I was the last guy to take a quarterback, and I got Dak Prescott.
That's
I mean,
amazing.
shit. That's just free money. It's another guy just like London, where I love it because of everything I mentioned, but I love where you can draft them. Like London could easily give you numbers that warrant him being a top 2 or 3 overall pick. Dak could end up being a top 5, top 3 quarterback. He's way down the board. He's free pick almost. So yeah, that's how I feel. And I hate saying glowing things about Dak and Lamb and the Cowboys, but I got to put on the blinders for fantasy football, and I won't be the least bit shocked if I walk away with like a Lamb Prescott stack in my main redraft league that I'm doing on Saturday. So that's how I feel about Dak there. And then my last one is a little bit of a negative one, man. It's rookie phenom Ashton Genty being drafted towards the back of the first round religiously. I don't think I've done a mock where I've seen him not be a first round draft pick. I'm going to say he finishes below Josh Jacobs, Jonathan Taylor, Devon Achane, Bucky Irving, Kyron Williams, and Chase Brown this year, all of who are being drafted after him. Now, this isn't saying that Genty's going to be some massive bust or that I don't think he's very talented, but I can't help but be reminded so much of Marvin Harrison from last year. It's this, he's generational. Oh my God, he's a top 10 NFL pick. It's just a no-brainer. He's just going to slide in and kick ass. And I think what's working against him is the pretty shitty team that he's on. The Raiders aren't that good. Sure, they brought in Pete Carroll. They brought in Geno Smith, who's a capable vet. But I don't think they're that good. And running backs on not that good of a teams don't usually perform that well for fantasy. I just think back even to Bijan Robinson's rookie year. He got drafted in the top 5-6 picks in the league that year. And sure, he had a solid rookie year, but I think he was like running back 17 per game or something like that as a rookie.
Arthur Smith.
Yeah, Arthur Smith, man. But the comparisons are it reminds me so much of that. Bijan's rookie year. It reminds me so much of all the hype that we gave Marv last year. And the thing that I like about these other guys that I think will finish ahead of him, most of them are on substantially better offenses than the Raiders. Josh Jacobs, the Packers offense, way better than the Raiders. Jonathan Taylor, I don't know. The Colts, they're a little bit messy, but I just like the talent of Taylor. I've seen him do it. I think it helps Taylor that Daniel Jones got the starting nod. He'll throw and check down to the running backs more than AR would. Devon Achane, the Dolphins, say what you want. We've seen them be a explosive, high-powered offense. I'll take their offense over the Raiders every day. Kyron and the Rams, of course, better than the Raiders offense. Chase Brown and the Bengals, hell yes, they're on a better offense. So that's my thinking there. I'm not saying, Ashton Jeanty isn't going to be awesome for years and he shouldn't be a top dynasty pick and even a higher-end player this year, but I'm just not taking him over there. I'd rather take the high-end receivers where Jeanty's going, the Amon-Ra's, guys like that where you can take them, and then one of these running backs I just named in the second. I like that start so much more than Jeanty and then the receiver you can get in round 2. And that's really where this one comes from. But I feel like even with all that said, it won't change anybody's mind, and Jeanty will still be top end, pick 9, pick 10, maybe even earlier in damn near every home league redraft. So not for me. Like the kid, but give me all those running backs I mentioned over him.
Yeah. I definitely agree with the Dak take. Even had a live comment saying Dak to the moon, Dak going up. I think, especially after this Micah Parsons trade, they really have to air it out to do anything. They have to really pass it. And Dak has 2 top 3 finishes. The most recent 2 years ago. It's not like it was 5, 6, 7 years ago. Like he's an older vet. Like 2 years ago, he was a top 3 quarterback. I think that can happen again. Now for Jeanty, I want to correct you a little with the Bijan comparison. Bijan, his rookie year, finished as running back 9, not 17.
I think maybe points per game was like 17. I saw that somewhere.
Oh yeah, but points per game it was 17. Yeah. For overall running back, it was running back 9. Okay. So it kind of depends on how you look at it there. But sure. He did finish incredibly well. I think Jeanty. I mean, when you look at the Raiders' offense, what you have going for them. I mean, you have Jacoby Myers, who's a good solid option, but not top tier. You have Brock Bowers, who's top tier, and then Jeanty. I think Jeanty finishes in that 9 to 12 range. And I think when you're looking at those running backs, I think Jonathan Taylor's injury prone, Devon Achane's injury prone. I think we talked some about the concerns about Bucky Irving not having as the volume. Even last year, he didn't have the volume for the Bucs. That I truly do wonder if Jeanty's going to finish above 2 or 3 of those guys. Like I would agree with Jacobs, Kyron Williams, even Chase Brown. I definitely think Jeanty finishes below those guys, but Jonathan Taylor, Bucky Irving, Devon Achane, really, that's 50-50 for me.
Yeah, you're supposed to be able to shoot holes in these. They're hot takes.
And that's what we're here is we're talking about. I mean, I love your other 2 hot takes. I think those are great.
Yeah, and I think with the Jeanty thing, the real big takeaway again is where instead of taking Jeanty where he gets drafted and then your wide receiver 1 in early middle-ish round 2, I just love so much more how it looks to get Amon-Ra, wide receiver 1, and then one of these guys is 2. I've done it ridiculous. I've been off work all week. I've been doing mocks in my sleep, and I just keep doing it, more or less science experiments from every position. And, the ones where I've taken Jeanty, I just don't like the overall finish. And if he ends up being the 9th running back, just take Bijan's rookie year. He was 9th overall, but he was also 16 or 17 per game average. I don't want that. My first round pick should be better than that. I don't think if that's your first round pick, I don't think you're winning the title unless you have some crazy luck with the other end, the rest of the draft. But certainly going to be good. I don't think anybody's going to walk away looking at Jeanty as a bust, but I think it might be a lot of those feelings that we all had at the end of Bijan's rookie year, that it was just he didn't kill me, but he definitely didn't win me the title.
Yeah. I remember taking Bijan and Gibbs in one redraft league, both their rookie years, and I was like, this looks great, and then the season happened. I'm like, can I redo this, please? You don't want your first round pick to be running back or wide receiver 9. You want them to have that higher ceiling.
Absolutely, man. So yeah, that was my feeling. I'm also like to bring up. I'm not a big like hot takey guy. I tend to try to think in the more realistic, the more logical, and just the way my brain operates. So it was like a bit of a struggle for me to even come up with like spicy takes or hot takes, because that's not really something that I do. But this is what I got, and like I said, these things are probably not going to happen. But if any of or all three of them happen, you heard it here first, buddy.
There you go.
Yeah, I want your takes to be right, but I really want the Dak one to be right. He led the NFL in touchdown passes just 2 years ago. I don't want any injuries to happen because it'll be so much fun to watch.
Yes.
And if London does finish wide receiver 1, we're all way too low on Penix, and I'm going to make a little note of that and bump Penix up a little bit. The Genty thing, I was Mr. Rookie for the longest time. Oh, shiny new toy, Marvin Harrison, and like I would reach for rookies. And last year, it really burnt me. They just don't get the volume. It's fun. It's fun to take them early, but it doesn't. It looks better on paper, but I'm not
better
gonna,
on paper than practice.
I can't. I think Jacobs and Taylor will finish ahead of Genty, but I think, yeah, like if you're taking Genty that high, people are looking for running back 3 at worst on the season, and people get all pissed off. He was my first round pick, and he only finished RB4, and he could have 1,500 yards, and he can have an amazing year, but people are going to be sour if it's not RB3 or higher.
Yeah.
Well, I think,
and that's interesting. Sorry, go ahead.
Like ADP right now is what? It's Bijan's pretty much the clear first running back taken, Gibbs the clear second, and then it's Barkley, Henry, I think, are the only. So Genty, I think's ADP is 5 currently.
There are many places I see Genty ahead of Henry,
or even yeah. So 4/5, and I feel like that's his I think it's his absolute ceiling.
Yeah,
I don't even know if it is his ceiling. So it really just comes back to all these things that I'm not doing it. There's no way my big money redraft is on Saturday. There's just no effing way that I'm ending up with Ashton Genty on my team, unless for some crazy ass reason I'm picking in like the middle of the first and he made it to me in the middle of the second. And that's never going to happen because people get rookie fever. He's probably on the cover of all those stupid magazines that 3 or 4 guys in my league are going to show up with. So yeah, man, I just don't see it happening.
Yeah.
Love him as a prospect, though. I have multiple dynasty shares that I'm quite thrilled to have. So no disrespect, Mr. Genty. You're a stud.
Yeah, and you mentioned, he's not going to bust or he might not bust. When you're drafting as running back 4 or 5, if he finishes as running back 10, that I'd say that's him busting. I think if you're drafting him at his ceiling, you're setting yourself up for failure.
Yeah, it's almost exactly what we did with Robinson his rookie year. He was like the 3rd running back off the board and finished 9th overall. So that certainly didn't, it didn't destroy your hopes, but it, you probably didn't win if you drafted Bijan his rookie year.
Yep.
We've been spoiled with these awesome rookie years, and we want to be ahead of the curve and get the awesome shiny rookie ahead of time and say that we were right and win our league, but it just doesn't happen as often as we think.
Yep. For sure.
Yeah, man. So that's what I got. I hope it helps you on your draft days upcoming and how you view these guys. Is just what I think, and I mean I spend way too many hours a day thinking about this shit and looking into research and playing in real money leagues. So trust me, I'm not always right, but a lot goes into my thoughts for sure.
I like it. You want next, or am I going?
Yeah, I'll go next.
Let's hear your 4 takes.
I went into this trying to paint Marvin Harrison in the best light I could. My original take was Marvin Harrison, top 3 wide receiver on the year. And I looked and I looked and I looked, and I was trying to find every stat that I could to boost Marvin up. Big Colts fan. I wanted Marvin so bad on the Colts. Didn't work out. By the end of this exercise, I've completely changed my tune. Marvin Harrison will finish outside of the top 25 wide receivers this year. He finished wide receiver 29 last year in wide receivers. I thought this was going to be Kyler Murray's fault. The deeper I dug, I was like, how was this Kyler's fault? How is this Kyler's fault? It wasn't. And if Marvin finishes that low again this year, wow, it's going to be like a full-blown panic on Marvin Harrison shares. Last year, he had fewer catches than Ray McLeod. He had a 53% catch rate. His average depth of target was 2 yards. That was the lowest among qualified receivers, according to the NFL.pro stats I saw. Read up on. I did some diving into the dark web of NFL stats, and just everything I saw painted Marvin in a worse and worse light. Kyler was about 10th to 15th in everything I saw. I'm not a big Kyler guy. Like I said, I didn't want to believe what I saw, but nothing I saw was very optimistic for Marvin. His target share was 22%, which is solid, but not spectacular for a stud of that level. He's got Trey McBride to compete with. James Conner's still alive. And the offense hasn't changed much at all. So what could possibly be different this year than last year? I think Kyler's going to rebound a little bit. Murray was accurate on his passes. He wasn't throwing wounded ducks. He wasn't throwing Daniel Jones passes out there. Kyler Murray was 7th in on-target throws, 8th on target percentage. His pass catchers were 10th in yards after the catch. I just don't know what to say. I was hoping to say Marvin was be top 3, went the total opposite direction. Outside the top 25, even top 30 might be pushing.
First thing I want to say about all that is, when you were on the dark web, I hope you didn't put in any credit card information or your social security number, because that can be very risky.
No, just the street I grew up on and my stuffed animal's name.
Oh, okay. Good. Then you should be okay.
So moving on, I've been a Tony Pollard stan a little bit. I thought he was a decent running back. He had a RB7 finish. I think was his last season in Dallas in 2023. He had the broken leg. Now he's got 4 games minimum with no Tajay Spears, and the Titans offense is looking a lot better. I'm really impressed with Cam Ward. That whole offensive line has improved drastically. They're getting better by the year. They've got J.C. Latham, Lloyd Cushenberry. They signed Kevin Zeitler from the Lions, I believe. Pollard already has a top 10 season under his belt. The AFC South isn't very good. Pollard he was on a really good pace last year. He only needs to pick up about 40 total yards a game to finish in the top 10. And I think you do it. Pollard is going very, very late in drafts. He's one of the latest starting running backs, I think, per ADP. No one wants to touch him. People are taking all of the rookies. Caleb Johnson ahead of him, Pacheco ahead of him, whatever's happening in the Browns running back room. Pollard's not getting enough respect, and I think he'll be maybe 7th or 8th on the year when all's said and done.
Like it.
All right. Yeah. My most outlandish pick, Tyrone Tracy gets 1,000 yards rushing. Laugh. Take a minute to I know everybody's like, dude, he's going to lose a starting job. I know. These are hot takes. Bookmark it. Come find me at MrOviedo. I know I'm ready to take some shame on this one. But he had 839 yards last year. He had a slow start of the year. His first 4 games, he only had 29 yards. The outside of those 4 games, he was on pace for that. If you multiply the games, the other 12 games, he was on 1,059-yard pace. The Giants have gotten better. They've got an infinitely better quarterback situation, they've got darts mobility. The offense will continue to grow. They can't be any worse. And the only other competition for touches in the backfield is Cam Scatabo. And Scatabo, he's only a third or fourth round pick. I think it was fourth.
Day 3 pick.
He did not look very good in the preseason. I know it's just a preseason. I don't think Scatabo is going to be as big of a not to steal as many carries as a lot of people think. Tracy had 300-yard games last year. Breece Hall only had 200-yard games. That's one of my favorite stats. Tracy's going super late in drafts. It sounded outlandish. The math checks for a hot take. The math works. If Tracy, all he has to do is do what he did last year for 4 more games, Tyrone Tracy will have 1,000 yards, and nobody wants it. Nobody. He's an awesome RB2 bye-week flex. I'm getting him everywhere I can.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, if it was a month ago, I would have called you crazy because I'm full on the Scatabo train. But with his injury, him not playing much in the preseasons, not getting those snaps, it's going to take him much longer to get any sort of play time from Tracy. That if Tracy starts hot, that's starting to look good.
The Giants, they didn't add many pieces to the offense. They have Scatabo and Devin Singletary. I can't believe Devin Singletary made it through cut day. The Giants don't really have anyone else to run the ball with if Scatabo is out with injury, and Scatabo runs like the Tasmanian devil. He will get hurt. That dude is a bowling ball. He's going to miss a few games.
It's very Isaiah Pacheco-like, the way that Scatabo runs.
Read my mind.
Yes. He looks for the danger. He looks for contact.
And every report you see from Giants can't beat right everything is that Tracy's just, at least to start, he's the guy. He's going to be their primary weapon out of the backfield. So, yeah, I don't think this is that crazy. I think the only thing that would really, hinder that is if they just decide to start giving a lot more work to Scatabo. But if Tracy's playing well enough and, doing well in pass protection and not getting Wilson/Dart, blindside hit all the time, I don't see why he would relinquish the job. So yeah man, I'm not sure it's a hot take, but I don't think it's that outlandish at all.
Agreed.
Give a little uptick with the Micah Parsons deal.
That too.
And the last one, Tucker Kraft, top 3 tight end. Outside of Bowers and McBride, it's a crapshoot. One of those might not finish in the top 3. Kittle could slide in top 2. Kraft may be the top receiving weapon for the Packers this year. There's the Jaden Reed finger issue. Romeo Doubs has been rumored to be a cut or a trade. I mean, go down. Matthew Golden's unproven. Christian Watson looks to be out for the year. Kraft had 9.3 yards after the catch. He was the league leader by almost 2 yards last year over Kittle in yards after the catch. 229 yards after contact was tops in the lead.
Yep.
His avoided tackles per game was second among tight ends. He might be the top receiving weapon for Jordan Love. and I think he's gonna enter that elite tier this year.
The way that Zach Ertz catches the ball and just fetal position turtle shells, Tucker Kraft is the exact polar opposite of that. Tucker Kraft is just catching in stride and running over people and getting yak. Yeah. So, yeah, big fan of him. I like him at his, he's, again, you could potentially be the last guy in your league to take a tight end this year in redraft and settle for Tucker Kraft. So,
yeah,
don't disagree with anything that you just brought up there.
Yeah, that goes into one of my takes. Is I think Kraft is probably one of, if not the top option on Green Bay. As you mentioned, there's injuries. They're injury ridden. Matthew Golden is unproven. I think he's not going to do nearly as well as people think. I think he's going to be a Christian Watson 2.0 where he'll boom one game, do nothing 2 games. I think Kraft will be the consistent receiving option on that Packers offense, and that might give him a leg up on some of the other tight ends with the volume he might receive. Yeah. I like him.
Absolutely could happen. I mean, shit, he could, like you said, the top 3 we all have pretty locked in with McBride, Bowers, Kittle. Like, it's an automatic that they're going to finish top 3, but wild shit. Injuries happen every year. We all thought Sam Laporta was locked in to be the number 1 tight end after his rookie year, and what did he finish second year? 7th, 8th overall. So yeah, that's not that is not too wild, man. So we did touch on the Tracy thing. I didn't say anything about Pollard. Pollard has always been one of my favorites, especially with how cheap he is. Credit to Jamie Eisenberg from CBS. He brought this up earlier in the offseason. Tony Pollard, when you look at his fantasy points per touch over the entire course of his career, so when he was getting, small amounts of work behind Zeke Elliott, and then that awesome year he had where he was, ended up being like the Dallas running back you wanted when him and Zeke were still there, and then even the time that he's been with Tennessee, the only time his numbers have dipped a little bit were last year when he was coming back off of like the bad leg break injury, where he was still usable. Like, he was still a decent starting, RB2 or flex option for you. But the whole rest of his career, he's been fantastic. The numbers don't lie with that. So, I mean, I've always been a Pollard guy. Top 10 is certainly hot takey, but, like, it certainly could happen, man. That offense has done nothing but improve. The better offensive line, the first overall pick quarterback. It's just, it could definitely happen. You won't catch me saying anything bad about Tony Pollard. His like I said, his numbers, everything I've ever seen about what he's done statistically and for fantasy has been wonderful, basically. So the Marvin Harrison one, I also don't think is that crazy. Like, he's such a great talent in, high draft capital and the Hall of Fame DNA and all these things, but he was horrifically misused with the Cardinals offense. They're just sending him on go routes down the sideline over and over and over again. And I don't think Kyler's been in the league long enough. He's not going to change his stripes. He's going to do what he does. And Kyler would much, much rather check the ball to Trey McBride for 7 yards than air it out down to Harrison. Maybe the coaching staff goes, hey, we spent a 4th overall pick on this kid. Maybe he should run something other than wind sprints down the sidelines, and they drastically change up their offense. But I think we're going to see more of the same. Maybe he improves a little bit. Maybe he cracks 1,000 yards this year. But just cracking 1,000 yards doesn't even make you a top 25 wide receiver in today's fantasy, in today's NFL. So yeah, I don't know. If I had to take the over-under on him being top 25, I'd slightly take the over, but like most, or higher, most of the underdog, like the underdog things we were talking about with Maye, I'd rather just pass on that bet. I don't even want to bet on that. I feel like he's probably going to be wide receiver 20 to 30, so I'll hold the money in my pocket rather than bet on that thing. So, yeah, man, unless something drastically changes there in Arizona, Marv's probably going to have another disappointing year. It just won't hurt as bad because you're not drafting him at pick 10 or pick 13 or whatever he was going at.
So Marvin top 3 would have been the right hot. That would have been scorching.
Yeah, dude, you would have melted my screen.
Yeah.
What?
I just looked at our redraft mock last week, and Marvin Harrison went as the wide receiver 15. And that's right around where he's going. So, yeah, outside the top 25 is a hot take. I think definitely, I think, Brian, you brought up what I was going to bring up is the Cardinals' play calling for Marvin Harrison was, okay, just leave the huddle and just run a go route every time. You don't even need to hear anything. Like, just go. And you're like, that's something that's backyard football play. Like, what are you doing? You spent a number 4 pick for a generational wide receiver, and you're saying, okay, just run. Like, no, you can do so much more to get the ball in your hands. You can scheme so much better that unless the Cardinals change, he's never going to be in the top 25. Like, never. Like, they need to do something to get him the ball to do things. And when they can check it down to McBride, when they have that run game, Trey Benson coming up, James Conner, if he can stay healthy, like, are they going to change? Is Kyler going to change? So
that offense is exactly the same.
Yeah.
Exactly the same.
Kyler has also came out multiple times this offseason and says he wants to run the ball more. Well, that's less even potential targets for all players involved. So, yeah, I'm not big on Harrison.
Agreed.
Another guy I doubt I have any chance in hell at getting in my redraft league because somebody's going to take him. Somebody's going to like him more than me.
Yep. Any last thoughts before I go?
Before you go, I pulled this up just to make sure I wasn't imagining this in my head. Bijan Robinson's rookie year in full PPR scoring. So, Bijan's a pretty good pass catcher, so that would help probably finish lower in regular PPR. In full PPR, he finished at the running back 17 per game with 13.76 points per game. And I feel like that could be an identical stat line to what we see out of Ashton Jenkins this year. And if he finishes as the running back 17 per game and you spent your first-round pick on that, shame.
Yeah. I mean, even if he plays 17, are you wanting that points per game or someone higher who will get higher points per game but may play a few less games? Like, he definitely was much lower on the points per game than I thought.
You're not mad about having a running back on your team that's scoring just almost 14 points per game at all. It's great. I want to lock that into maybe my running back 2 or my flex spot, but not my first-round pick. No, ladies and gentlemen.
They also had Tyler Algier, who played it's pretty okay. He might be a very low-end starter on another team, but the only guys behind Genty are Raheem Mostert and Zamir White.
Yeah.
But I hear you. I'm Marvin kind of broke me on my rookie fever. I'm taking it easy. I'm not reaching for Genty at all this year.
Well, Tyler Algier, if I'm not mistaken, he's a Brigham Young guy. So, that good Mormon living, drinking that weird near beer that's only like 3% out in Utah. How could you not feed that guy over Bijan Robinson?
True. Okay.
All right, Zach.
I was just scrolling through multiple of my apps as I was looking through these hot takes, and I'm like, oh, this is good, this is good. And then I'm like, oh, I think the first 2 are going to hit a little close to home for you two. And I didn't plan on it whatsoever. Honest to God, like I didn't. So what I'll do is I'll talk about my first 2. I'll let you guys take the hits at home that I'm not meaning to. I didn't purposely do, and then I'll talk about my last 3. So my first one, I'm talking about your boy DJ Moore. I was watching the Bears preseason games. Again, I live in Bear country. I'm watching that. I'm seeing what's happening, and I'm watching the game against Kansas City. I'm seeing the 3rd or 4th series for the Bears, and I see Caleb Williams make a deep pass to Odunze and get rocked. Caleb Williams just got knocked to the ground hard. Odunze, who's your big wide receiver who wants to go up, you want him to go up, get those contested catches, had a great chance of catching it, and he didn't catch it. And after that, the next play immediately is a 37-yard pass to Odunze. They go right back to him. Caleb Williams says, I don't care I got rocked. I don't care this 50-50 ball you should have gotten, you didn't. 37-yard pass to Odunze. The next play, 3-yard touchdown pass to Odunze. It looked schemed to him where he ran a quick curl route right into the end zone. I'm seeing that and thinking, wow, the Bears have realized what type of weapon they have in Odunze. And this is nothing to say against DJ Moore, but I think they're realizing the strength, the ability, the talent Odunze has, that they're going to start scheming to get him the ball more. And I think as the season goes along, I think he has a strong chance of outscoring Odunze or outscoring DJ Moore. Now it could be Odunze being wide receiver 15 and DJ Moore 17 or, 20 and 25 or something like that. But I think just with how the Bears, it's preseason. I could be wrong, but how they treated the preseason, they were facilitating that Williams-Odunze matchup. And then I know last time we talked about our buy low, buy highs, some J.J. McCarthy. Now, I want to share a little bit why I think there's a good chance he gets benched during the season. Now, I want to share a couple thoughts on why. I know we're saying the Vikings head coach is a quarterback whisperer. J.J. McCarthy is going to do great. When J.J. McCarthy was drafted, we recognized he didn't pass much in college. That people were saying he has a great ceiling, that he is someone that is a very developmental quarterback. He then plays half a preseason game before he gets injured out for the season. And the injury he had, I'm hearing many people say, yeah, that injury, you have a quick surgery, you're cleaned up in 8 weeks and 6-8 weeks, 10 weeks max, and you can start playing again. And next thing you know, he's out for the season. And then you think, okay, great. He's healthy. He's ready to go. He's going to get a lot of preseason snaps. He's going to come in. He's going to practice. He's going to get this developmental time. I think he played 2, maybe 3 series the entire preseason in the first game, and then nothing in the second and third game. So either the Vikings are so 100% sure J.J. McCarthy is their quarterback that they're like, this guy who's played, half a game and 2 series is so amazing. He needs no preseason games against any other NFL teams. Or they're really unsure about him. And I think I'm worried that this developmental quarterback was not given the chance to succeed, was not given the time to actually practice, was not given this time in preseason to actually not just be, okay, this is my defense I'm practicing against, like actual, as good as preseason can get. I'm so worried that he was not developed right because of that injury, that it might become a Bryce Young situation where he becomes benched 3/4 way through the season, halfway through the season, say, okay, sit back behind. I don't even know who's the backup in the Vikings. I forget. I should have looked this up. I think
just traded for Carson Wentz.
That's right.
It should have been Sam Howell.
I think there's a chance he gets put behind Wentz. I think that's a real possibility because he needs to develop, and he could have had that last year against Darnold, but he was injured and he couldn't go through that process of actually practicing behind Darnold. He had to watch. I think that's what he needs, and I think that's what's going to happen to McCarthy.
All right.
What do you guys think?
I mean, with McCarthy, well, no, you know what?
Or either. I know these hit a little close to home, so I want to give you guys some time to talk about that before I go through my next 3.
All right, fair. So with the Rome outscoring DJ Moore thing, of course, I love DJ Moore, and it hurts to hear that, but it would be idiotic of the Bears to not try to emphasize a connection between Caleb and Rome rather than Caleb and DJ Moore. DJ Moore's making good money. He got the bag last year. I'm pretty sure they have an out within a year or two to not take a huge hit on him. They'll still use him. Maybe he ends up being more of a short yardage guy like he was last year. But They spent a top 10 pick on Rome. I remember so many people saying that, Rome ended up being the wide receiver 3 to all the scouts, under Marvin, under Neighbors last year. But I remember so many people saying Rome would have been the number 1 wide receiver in the class before him or the class after him easily. So the dude I've never heard any college scout type people say anything bad about Rome Odunze. So they should try and force him the ball over all the other pieces on that offense. So it wouldn't be that surprising to me if it happens. If I had to bet money out of my pocket on it, I'll still take more probably in full PPR, because I think they will just give him a ton of short yardage stuff. And I think that offensive line, even what we're seeing in the preseason, still kind of sucks. I'm talking about Caleb getting just annihilated in preseason games. Odds are they're probably going to have to throw it short to keep him upright. So I'll still take more for this season. But that could absolutely happen. And as much as it hurts to hear anything negative about my boy DJ Moore, I can't really argue with you on this one.
In a redraft earlier today, I took DJ Moore over Odunze, yet this is my hot take. So, I mean, yeah.
Yeah, there's so many options in that offense. Like you said, it might be as close as 15 to 17 or 20 to 22, but it'll be interesting to see how Ben Johnson fits all of those players into the offense. But Ben Johnson, he's been taking it seriously. It's like week 4 for Ben Johnson. He was out for blood the opening minute of this preseason. They beat I know it's just a preseason. I know. It's meaningless. Didn't they beat the Bills 38-0?
Yep.
It was something crazy.
Bills backups.
Then they were Bills backups, and then they beat the Chiefs. They were losing to the Chiefs, then sent Tyler Bajic back into the game to win a meaningless preseason game. I think Ben Johnson's going to work some wizardry. I don't know how any of them. I don't know what piece to take of that offense.
Yeah, very true. Who knows? It's one of those that it could be any of them.
It'll change every week, and you'll have no idea.
Yep.
No idea who to start.
Fair enough. All right, what do you got for your next one, Mr. Wide Receiver Room?
Okay, my final 3. So I'm saying the Patriots will have a wide receiver that scores higher than every single Packers wide receiver. When we're looking at the Packers wide receiver room, this was before the news today or yesterday, hearing more about Jaden Reed with his foot injury. You're looking at the Packers wide receiver room. Everyone's like, it's so deep, it's so great. You got Matthew Golden, you got these players who's going to do well. If you absolute max, a flex play every other week. That's me. That's what my wide receiver model is saying. If you've heard me say that before, that's what I think. Even if he does better than that, I think that despite the depth of the Packers wide receiver room, I think someone on the Patriots, probably Diggs, maybe Kyle Williams, is going to score higher than every single Packer. We've talked about Drake Maye being lower. I even said earlier the passing yards for Drake Maye is going to be lower. I still think that the Patriots will have a higher scoring wide receiver than anyone on the Packers. Next one, Cam Ward. I know we just had two quarterbacks that were rookies last year that finished in the top 10, top 12. So many people I'm hearing Cam Ward is going to wait. The Titans offense isn't great. I think Ridley and Cam Ward are 2 great steals in your redrafts. I think Cam Ward finishes as a top 15 quarterback. I think with even checkdowns to Pollard, Ridley's had so much hype. Ridley's had 2, maybe 3 good seasons, but I think Cam Ward pulls something very similar to CJ Stroud his rookie year, that he comes in and people aren't expecting as much out of him. that I think he's going to shock a lot of people with what he's doing. And I might have even been able to say top 10, top 15 might not be too hot of a take. But I think top 10, top 12 is in the realm of possibility for Cam Ward. Then my final one is I don't think the Chiefs win the AFC East. I think they're finally dethroned. I think that division has become so much tougher. It's kind of almost take your pick. I mean, the Chargers have added a ton on the offensive side. Denver added more offensive weapons. I think those two are going to really give the Chiefs a fight to it's going to come down to the last 2 or 3 games, but I think one of those teams are going to dethrone the Chiefs. I mean, when you look at even the Chiefs offense, Rashee Rice, we heard now, first 6 games is going to be suspended. So that throws, the first 4 games for the Chiefs, or 3 of the first 4 games of the Chiefs are going to be so difficult now for them to win. There's a chance I could see the Chiefs starting 1-3 with how their first 4 games are at, that the Chiefs might be having to play catch up. That I think their reign of terror as the AFC East champion is over this year.
Could certainly happen. Don't disagree at all about the Broncos and the Chargers both looking like rock solid contenders. So let me rewind back to the Patriots receiver one.
Yeah,
I think if Diggs is healthy, I don't see much competition there for him. I could absolutely see Stephon Diggs outscoring any Packers wide receiver. Not so much that because I don't like the Packers wide receivers, but they spread the ball out so much. Plus Tucker Kraft, who we just had a big discussion about. Josh Jacobs can catch passes, can and has caught passes. So just the nature of the way that offense works and how much it will be spread around. If Diggs is the main guy there, Pop Douglas is every report says that he is locked in as the slot guy in Josh McDaniel offense. You know who else was a slot guy in Josh McDaniel offense? Wes
Welker, Julian Edelman.
That's how his offense runs. That's how they use the slot. So Pop Douglas, talk about a late round steal, / flyer, man. Give me all the Pop Douglas in the super late rounds of redraft and on the cheap in Dynasty. So yeah, Pop Douglas could legitimately have a 95 catch, just over 1,000-yard season and easily be better than all the Packers guys.
Yeah, I agree on. Yeah, the Chiefs could finish 3rd in that division. I like how none of us mentioned the Raiders. I think the Raiders are just going to continue doing Raider things.
Yep.
But yeah, the Chiefs start the year in Brazil. They have a wedding coming. They've Rice is suspended. Rice tore his ACL last year, and I know he's played a bit in the preseason. Rice is maybe 90%. Travis Kelce looked completely washed in the preseason games I saw. Yeah, the Chiefs might finish 3rd. That would be from Super Bowl. The Eagles just beat them down so hard. They go from Super Bowl appearance to 3rd in the division. That would be that'd be pretty crazy. And I think, should I defend JJ McCarthy? I've defended him everywhere so far.
Go for it.
He's going to be I think people are thinking fantasy only. It is a fantasy football show, podcast, website. McCarthy has that, the winning pedigree. They won the national championship over Washington a couple years ago. McCarthy had a 72.3% completion percentage his last year. He's not going to be throwing for 5,000 yards a year. He's just going to be a Alex Smith, solid, steady game manager, and he only needs to throw the ball 10 or 15 yards, and Jefferson and Addison is going to take it another 70. So he might not be airing it out all game, every game. Almost every other quarterback that's played in that system, Nick Mullins, Sam Darnold, Josh Dobbs, has done just fine, and all McCarthy has to do is be better than those 3 stiffs. And he's got that, like, got some college experience, some good college experience. He's been in the spotlight. He's been in big games. I just saw, and this is an odd Riley Leonard played a preseason game, and he looked so calm, comfortable, collected. Whereas the incumbents in Indy, Daniel Jones and Anthony Richardson, they were playing deep into the second preseason game. If they're playing in the second and third preseason game that deep, that means that the team has no idea what they want to do at quarterback. If McCarthy only played 2 or 3 series, they know he's the guy. He's got that gleam in his eye. He's going to be solid, not spectacular, solid. I'd be heartbroken if he's benched, because that means a lot of people are going to be cashing in their receipts. And I told you he can't. I told you he sucks. He's got.
Yeah, there's a chance. I mean, he has some amazing success in past big games at handing the ball off.
Doesn't have a lot of passing yards. Maybe they didn't need him to.
That's true. Maybe they didn't need him to. Maybe their rush game was that good. I think a lot of those quarterbacks you mentioned for the Vikings had a better potential for throwing than McCarthy, even for what they did in college. I think that's lacking some. And I would have loved to have seen more preseason games just from McCarthy because of that. Because as much as practice makes perfect, the practice games, the practice scenarios to get those balls out, like, sure, I've seen some amazing throws from him in practice. Well, let's see that when there's actually there's multiple defenders there. Not, okay, I know he's running this route and I'm just going to throw it there. Like, let's see you make that read of a defender making you question yourself if that's going to be open or not. Like, I wish I would have loved to have seen that.
Every time that McCarthy comes up in our private discussions and on the show, I always default to this: we don't fucking know.
Yeah,
we have barely saw him do anything in college. We saw a game where Michigan won where he threw the ball 7 times. He didn't throw a professional pass yet, other than preseason. He barely threw any of those. So I kind of just reserve my takes on him until I see him doing something on the field. And of your 5 hot takes here, I think this would be the spiciest one, because I don't think he is going to fuck up bad enough to get benched. I feel like if they see him struggling a little bit, they will adjust the offense to some like shorter, easier passes and more runs with, Jordan Mason and Aaron Jones, and just give him the chance to develop on the field and learn, trial by fire with what they spent on him and all that. Yeah. So I'd say that's the spiciest one. But again, with not knowing shit about this guy and really seeing him on an NFL field, we have no idea. So the chances of him coming out and just sucking and being overwhelmed are less than 0. So he could absolutely come out and just look like a deer in headlights and end up getting benched for his own safety. Who knows? He's holding the ball too long and getting leveled, every 2 plays. So it could happen for sure.
He's got 2 games versus Micah Parsons now.
He does, and he's coming in hot.
Hopefully one of those is a week 18.
Yeah. Okay. Well, the only one I didn't touch on is Cam Ward. I think I gave this as like my bold take for the Holics page from like a few months ago, that Cam Ward finishes like a top 12 guy. So I don't disagree with this at all. He's very talented. He played a good amount of college ball. He was the first overall pick. He's not getting benched. I don't care what other than injury. They're not just benching Cam Ward. They're going to let him learn and develop as a quarterback. He's not a rushing quarterback, but he can run. They have a solid offensive line there. They have the offensive line coach there. Callahan is, I'm not going to say he's the best, because the Eagles have the best offensive line coach in NFL history, but he's legendary. So he'll have that offensive line protecting him well and blocking well for him. It's certainly a spicy take, but not crazy at all. We see rookies come in all the time. We had, Nix and Jaden Daniels step in and both be like top 8 quarterbacks last year as rookies. Nobody saw Bo Nix coming. Daniels, not too surprising with the rushing ability, but people were making fun of the Broncos for drafting Bo Nix in the first round, and he turned out infinitely better as a rookie than Caleb or McCarthy, who didn't play, or Penix, who didn't even get in until the end of the year. So yeah, man, Cam Ward, I like him. I drafted a good bit of him in my super flex leagues because you could get him. You were getting him at pick 4, pick 5, pick 6 in super flex leagues this year, and I love that. So yeah, top 15, not too much of a stretch, man. I like yours though. They're all good discussion topics. Look at us, an hour and 20 deep, just based on what you had 5. You had 4. I had 3. So not a huge amount, but not hard for us to ramble about football for a long time.
True. There's 2 things I'll mention. First, shameless plug, tier 1 quarterback who's doing stuff for Fantasy Holics, as well as following him on Twitter. He called Bo Nix. I'm in a league with him. He drafted Bo Nix at the 104. He was that sure that he was going to succeed. I'm here at the 108 thinking, oh, perfect. I'm going to get Bo Nix, and he snipes me there, and he's sitting pretty, taking Jaden Daniels at 103 and Bo Nix at 104. And he called it. He knew Bo Nix was going to succeed incredibly well. So if you want some great quarterback information, go follow him. He posts his player profiles on our Facebook page. Follow him. He knows his stuff. Secondly, I want to bring up one final thing. I think we're going to learn very quickly about J.J. McCarthy in the extent of, in the first 8 weeks, he has 5 primetime games.
Is he Kirk Cousins or is he not Kirk Cousins?
That's a good question. Week 1 at Chicago, Monday night. Week 2, he's home versus Atlanta, Sunday night. He has week 4 and 5, 8:30 a.m., I guess 9:30 Eastern, versus Pittsburgh and Cleveland. Cleveland, all right. But week 7, he's versus Philly. He's got prime at Chargers week 8, Thursday night. I think I think his schedule is, if some of these were a little later, I think his schedule is going to tell us a lot about him real quick, one way or the other. I think reserving opinion, as you mentioned, Brian, but I think it's going to be one of those quarterbacks. A lot of quarterbacks, you say, okay, wait till week 10 or 12 to really tell. I think with him, we're going to tell much sooner.
Bears Vikings Monday Night Football week 1. Think about how many fantasy pieces are involved in that game. What a fun ass way to finish up our week 1 matchup. Holy shit! How many matchups are going to be wildly undecided going into that?
It's going to be amazing to see.
Oh my god, dude! So many. Unreal.
It's going to be 9:45, 10 o'clock on Monday night. We won't know who won.
No. Going into the fourth quarter, there'll still be like 40% of matchups undecided.
Yeah.
Oh,
that's going to be a fun week.
Overtime.
God, I can't wait, man.
Awesome.
Hey, McCarthy's played on the big stage before. He wants the prime time. He wants his prime time games.
Yep.
That's a valid point. I mean, the dude was the quarterback of a national championship team. They weren't playing on public access television. They were definitely on the big stage.
Yep.
He just didn't do a ton. So it's like I said, man.
To be determined.
I feel like even like the big college analyst, rookie scouting guys that I follow, none of them really even have like a super bold take on McCarthy. I don't hear any of them saying that he sucks. I don't hear any of them saying that he's really good and he's probably going to succeed. It's again because I think we just didn't even see much in college to like really gather a full opinion. And now he's in a totally different type system that he was running at Michigan. Well, it'd be interesting. Nothing would surprise me.
Yeah, and I'm not saying he's not going to succeed. I think that's it. I think he's a developmental quarterback, and I don't think they developed him enough that the sit is not going to be. He's not going to be benched and his career's done. I think it's going to be let's develop you a little more. Let's not get you unnecessary hits or kill your confidence. Let's give you half a season or a quarter of a season to rest up and learn some before going again. I think it's more that. I'm not saying he's not going to succeed. I think that benching is more going to be, we know we want you to succeed. This is how we're going to get you to succeed.
A Bryce Young style benching.
Yes, exactly.
Right. Yeah, I definitely knew that's what you meant. I knew we're talking about they're just going to fucking cut ties if he struggles. So
yep.
Yeah, that's and look what it did for Bryce Young.
Exactly.
People went from, I mean, dude, Bryce Young was, Christ, it was like he was the gum you scraped off your shoe there at one point, and then they benched him, let him learn. He came back in, and I mean, you're hard pressed to talk to anybody in Dynasty or like especially in Superflex that's not somewhat excited for Bryce Young now. He really, the last 4 or 5 weeks, or it might have been longer than that, last year after his benching, he was rock solid for fantasy football. He was like a top 12 guy.
He was.
And now they brought in, the top, well, I guess, second receiver drafted in the class.
Yeah.
Not counting Travis Hunter, Ted McMillan. So, yeah, people are hyped for him. So, yeah, that I don't disagree with that at all. If he comes out and looks like a deer in headlights, they just brought in Carson Wentz, who has plenty of starting experience. I think that the fact that they traded for Carson Wentz strengthens your point that they're kind of lining up a secondary plan that if he does come out and struggles, they can put in. They put in Andy Dalton for Bryce Young, a proven veteran with tons of NFL starts under his belt that can get the job done, that he can learn from. It's almost a mirror situation. So,
the
more and more we talk through it, I still think it's your spiciest of the 5 takes, but
I'd agree.
I can see all these things happening.
Awesome. Any other thoughts before we call it?
Well, I mean, this will be the last thoughts before like everybody has their main redraft drafts. Tons of them this weekend. If they're not this weekend, you have to have them by Wednesday at the latest.
Yep.
Potentially Thursday morning if you're a fucking psychopath. But yeah, man, good luck to everybody. I don't have I wish I could come up with one super perfect nugget of advice, but here's my nugget of advice for your redraft draft. Let the draft come to you, man. Don't reach on some crazy shit. If you're super convicted about somebody and you got to have them, okay, do it. We're doing this for fun. You want to have that guy on your team, that's cool, but just let the draft come to you, man. Just look at rankings, look at different rankings, look at ours, look at CBS, look at South Harmon, look at ESPN. Just absorb as much information as you can. Do mock drafts over and over again. If you know your draft slot, do a ton of them from that slot over and over again. Experiment, do different shit. If you're like me and you draw your number out of a hat when you get to the draft, just do mock drafts from 1 to 12 and then back again and over, and it will not hurt. It's not going to win you your title to do a ton of mocks, doing a ton of research, but it sure as fuck isn't going to hurt.
Yep.
So get in there, do the work. Hard work pays off always. And that's my best nugget.
I would say go with your gut. I'm probably the least risk-averse guy. I always look, what's the most likely thing to happen? The safest bet, not like, oh, well, Jamar Chase is just going to not get targeted or forget how to play football. Or the most likely outcome, the easiest answer is usually the right answer.
Yeah. I don't have too much besides good luck. Really don't make too many decisions week 1, week 2, week 3. So much happens, so many changes. Trust your gut. Trust what team you have built. Don't look at the end of week 1 and say, I need to make a bunch of trades. I need to cut these guys. Wait a few weeks. It takes some people times to get really acclimated and turn on. Trust what you have done in the draft process. Trust and wait it out.
Yeah, you can go 1-4 or 0-5 and still make your title. I've seen it. I think you mentioned
that last week.
You did it.
That was me.
We see that shit all the time. We hear every major podcast bring it up. People emailing and writing in, and messaging our page and everything about it. So I bring this up in the waiver wire article every year. In fantasy football, 1 week counts as 7% of your season. You could have the greatest smash win week 1. Everybody in your team scores 25 points, and you set an all-time league record. Guess what? By week 4, you might look decimated and terrible. Just do your best every week. At the draft, obviously, do your best drafting. When week 1 comes around, see what happens. Make the according waiver moves, and don't freak out, because that was only 7% of your fantasy season, and each week that passes is only 7% more.
Yep.
So stay in it, keep grinding, man.
It's a marathon, not a sprint.
Yep. And then you can start looking forward to us on Tuesday nights. We'll be going live 10 p.m. Eastern. We'll make that consistent. We'll start advertising that more. I know you love us, we love us, but Thursday nights, football nights, we're not going to be streaming live while everyone's watching football. We'd be watching it half the time. It wouldn't be a great show. So Tuesday night, it might be good content at some point, but yeah. So Tuesday nights we'll be going live. We'll be consistently coming out Tuesdays, so look forward to that. Next week we'll be talking about kind of rookies, what we're looking forward to the season. What we're keeping our eye out, different players, what we're thinking is going to happen. Maybe we'll even share a little bit about what you can expect from us sharing on the Fantasy Holics page week to week. I know Ryan said he's doing waiver wire. I'm doing a couple articles a week or posts a week. We'll talk a little bit about what you can expect from us, as well as outside this podcast, to try and follow up and see what great stuff we have for you this season.
Yell at me about rankings. I will be staunchly defending my guys, and I'll be honest enough and try to help you win.
I love it. Sounds great.
Absolutely. Check you guys on. Well, we're going to record on Tuesday. We're going live on Tuesday, so we'll bullshit on Tuesday. I'll bring you my main redraft team draft results. You guys can tell me I did a great job or tell me I suck.
You suck.
To it.
I mean, I probably suck.
Sounds great. Have a great night, everyone.
Till Tuesday.
Have a good one.
Enjoy.